Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Fabs here for Sports Illustrated Fantasy, and we are at that time of the week again. That's right. We're looking to the waiver wire to see which players can potentially help us in our Week 8 matchups. And, of course, help comes in the form of Jen Piacenti, our great fantasy and betting analyst, who, by the way, nailed not one, but two Equanimous St. Brown player props on Monday night. Jen, I am not worthy. Let's start off at the quarterback position. Who can help fantasy managers coming up into Week 8?
If you don't have Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert this week, look at Daniel Jones. Believe it or not, Daniel Jones finished as the QB2 this week, and he's now the QB9 on the season. Jones has the second most rushing yards among quarterbacks after Lamar Jackson and 3 rushing touchdowns. Last Sunday, he threw for 202 yards and a score, and he added another 107 and a touchdown with his legs. This week, he's got Seattle, and they've given up the 11th most points to opposing quarterbacks, including the 5th most rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to the position. We know how soft that Seattle run defense can be, so this feels like a really good spot for Daniel Jones, who's available on a lot of waiver wires.
You know, he has more rushing yards than Najee Harris right now. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Some other quarterbacks that you could potentially get. Justin Fields has had 3 good games in a row. Now, he's playing the Cowboys this week, but he's still worth an ad. And then in deeper leagues, Marcus Mariota, Davis Mills as well. And if you're going real deep, Sam Ehlinger. Yeah, we're at that point right now. At the running back position, not one but 2 Carolina backs gashed the Buccaneers last week, and we like them heading into the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't the Buccaneers' run defense rumored to be one of the best in the league? Well, not if they're facing Donta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, apparently. Now, Chuba Hubbard officially got the start. He played more snaps than Donta Foreman, but Donta Foreman looked completely explosive. I like both of these guys. Foreman had 15 carries for 118 yards and another 127 in the year. That's 16 and a half PPR points. And Hubbard, he got the start. He got 63 yards on 9 carries and a touchdown. Now, he did leave with a bit of an ankle injury, so you're going to want to keep your eye on that. But either of these guys look like somebody that probably should be added because, look, the state of the running back position is pretty thin. So here's 2 guys you can probably get on your waiver wire.
If you're in some non-competitive leagues, Gus Edwards could be floating around out there. Maybe Michael Carter got dropped. The Chiefs have a bye this week, but Isaiah Pacheco got the start for Kansas City in Week 7. Moving on to the wide receiver position, and the Giants are somehow 6-1, and they really don't have a true number 1 wide receiver, but there is a player who is starting to pop on that roster.
Yeah, pretty sure that wide receiver is about to become Wan'Dale Robinson. He played 70% of the snaps this week. Now, we know he's been easing back in due to injury, but he led the team in targets and catches on Sunday. He's now put up 2 11 or more point PPR games in a row. And look, if we're believing in Daniel Jones, we should probably believe in Wan'Dale Robinson too. As you said, he's a talented rookie with the opportunity to become the wide receiver 1.
Isaiah McKenzie, Paris Campbell, who had a big game last week, and Nico Collins also worth a look. Now let's go to the tight end position. It's an absolute barren wasteland, but you like Juwan Johnson in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about Taysom Hill, right? Taysom Hill is the New Orleans tight end that we're always talking about rostering, but the pass-catching tight end is actually Juwan Johnson. He had 5 targets and 2 touchdowns in a wild Thursday night football game, so I'm not saying to chase the points, but I am saying his 182 routes are the 4th most among tight ends, and he's only blocking 8% of the time. Better yet, this week they have the Raiders, who've given up the 3rd most points to opposing tight ends, including 6 touchdowns. And as long as that wide receiver core is totally beat up in New Orleans, I think Juwan Johnson is certainly worth an ad.
Evan Ingram also worth a look. And then Greg Dulcich. Not only does the guy have great hair, but he's also been pretty good in his first 2 NFL games from a fantasy perspective. Jen, you are the best as always. Make sure you're checking out Jen's work over at si.com/fantasy and si.com/betting. And be sure to check out the Sports Illustrated YouTube channel where you can find waiver wire, start 'em and sit 'em, and much more. We're here to help you win a fantasy football championship, so make sure you hit that subscribe button.